junior, Steinmetz High School in Chicago. He was the 1993 National Golden Gloves champ. And here is Yahim Abdullah, who is 18. He's from Syracuse, New York.
Well, as you look at it here again, it's a height disadvantage. Diaz is a southpaw, and if our last bout is any indication that he may be able to overcome that height disadvantage. Years boxing, 9 years for Diaz. He's been in it quite a while, over half his life already. Ray
Silvas of Houston, Texas is the referee for this bout. Diaz in gold, Yahim Abdullah in green.
Abdullah's history is that he's very, very quick, but he doesn't use it well. He's kind of raw when it comes to his movement and his speed. Those are his two strengths, but as you'll see in this bout, he sometimes loses his place in the ring.
His footwork often gets fouled up, and he gets off balance and can be hit. Diaz trying to be the aggressor, keep the pressure on the taller Abdullah. Diaz only 5'4", Abdullah is 5'11".
This is not unlike the previous bout. It's very similar in that Diaz is going to want to get inside, but Abdullah doing a better job with his jab and his movement.
And in that bout at 125 pounds, Chris Martinez from San Antonio, a short boxer, defeated Tim Hernandez. Good right hand by Diaz. Abdullah missed with a left and a right. Diaz again keeping the pressure on, hooking with the right hand and landing. Abdullah not accurate so far, missing with a lot of punches. Good overhand right by Diaz. Abdullah still trying to establish the jab.
Well, the jab is what's keeping Diaz off him, even though he's not scoring with it. He seems that he needs to get set on his punches. He's not, as they say in amateur boxing, sitting down on his punches. Yahim is moving as he throws. If he's going to get any power or accuracy, he's going to have to settle down and regain his balance before he throws.
Right hook by Diaz. He appears to be off balance and looks like he's throwing some wild shots, but most of them have landed. He just rears back and lets it fly.
You see, he's much more flat-footed than Abdullah. Abdullah's lunging in, and Diaz able to keep his eye on his target and connect.
Neither boxer really scoring in that exchange. The white portion of the glove has to land for it to count as a scoring blow. Less than a minute remaining in the round. Diaz again landing with the right hand. He seems to telegraph that punch, but Abdullah's not picking it up in time. Both boxers landing there. And again, trading punches. Good exchange by Diaz, a right and a left to the head. Abdullah gets a caution for hitting Diaz in the back of the head.
That left hook is getting in, though. Abdullah's left hook is getting in over the right when Diaz throws the right. Right there, he hit him again with it.
Diaz looks like he's willing to take a few punches to get inside and land some of his own, though. Caution to Abdullah for holding. And round one comes to an end.
Interesting contrasted styles here. Again, as you see, in amateur boxing, it's really interesting because there's not a whole lot of defense. There are not too many great defensive boxers. Chris Bird comes to mind in the last Olympics, but Diaz is not he's not a defensive boxer. You can see this; these guys are both way off balance. Diaz throwing as he falls back. Abdullah's strength, again, is his speed and his movement, but it's worked against him here. Now, he got Diaz pinned there. He was able to connect with the right and then the left. The left has been good to him because with Diaz's height and him throwing the right, Abdullah has been able to come over that shoulder and hit him with the left.
Both these kids are high school students. Abdullah at Corcoran High School in Syracuse, New York. Diaz, a junior, and at Steinmetz High School in Chicago. Abdullah hopes to move on to Northern Michigan University, which has a great amateur boxing program. He got started boxing at the age of 13 when his family moved to a housing complex that had a gymnasium, required a $10 entrance fee. He could only scrounge up $5, so his coach chipped in the other $5. And of the 10 friends that began the boxing program, he's the only one who stayed. The rest dropped out.
He's a good kid, too. We've talked to him many times. And a pretty good investment, I'd say, for $10.
David Diaz in gold, Yahim Abdullah in green. 139-pounders. Abdullah lost to Lupe Suazo on points in the finals of the U.S. Championships in Colorado Springs to finish second. And then because of a car accident, he was unable to face Suazo again. The World Championship box-off. He had cut his ear and couldn't go back and face Suazo again.
Right back, Diaz. Right back, Diaz.
Diaz landing some good shots off the ropes.
A big wild right, and then scored again when Abdullah came in.
He hits hard for a little guy.
I talked to him before the match. He said, I said, do you have any power? He said, I have decent power.
I would say, landing again, a left and a right to the head of Abdullah. Abdullah getting in some licks of his own that time. Nothing there. Abdullah's shots glancing off the headgear of Diaz. Diaz is cautioned for butting. Abdullah gets a caution for pushing Diaz's head.
Well, assuming that Diaz is ahead in this bout at this point, and I would think that's a fair assumption. The difference in the bout has been the balance and the ability of Abdullah to get set. He has not been able to get set, and Diaz, who's been shorter and a much stronger